Dear students in grade 12, good afternoon. Welcome to our seminar for today, in which we are going to talk about the final exam for this year. Of course, our seminar for today is specified for both the scientific section and the literary section. Well, dear students, dear colleagues, at the beginning of this seminar, let me first introduce my colleagues in the studio who are going to participate in this seminar. Miss Lucia Karim, an English supervisor from Aleppo Directorate. Good morning, Miss Lucia.
Good morning, Mr. Basil.
And Mr. Hussam Mahmoud, an English teacher from Tartus Directorate. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr.
Welcome
Basil.
to Damascus, dear colleagues. Well, dear students, as you know, our seminar, as I said, is specified to talk about the final exam. Of course, I'm sure that you have a lot of questions about the final exam. We will try today to explain any point you find difficult in any unit in the course, and of course we can talk about the final exam, the questions, the composition, the reading texts, etc. Now, of course, I'd like to tell you something else. Of course, any student who, let's say, can't or finds a difficulty when he communicates in English, it would be okay. We can receive calls in Arabic and we can explain in Arabic if you don't understand the English language. It's okay, because it is, let's say, the last seminar for this school year. Well, as you know, we have some numbers at the bottom of the screen and you can use them to call us. We are ready to answer your questions. Dear colleagues, good morning again. Miss Lucia, as I said, today we will try to have, let's say, a revision for everything related to grammar or grammar skills in the course. We will start with tenses, to revise tenses. Would you like or can you give us an idea about the present tenses in the baccalaureate? Not only in the baccalaureate, of course. When we talk about present tenses, we can say that we have 4 main forms in the present. Would you like to give us an idea about present tenses with examples, please?
Yes. As you know, dear students, we've got the first 2 units as revision of tenses. The first unit is the revision of tenses for the present tenses, and the second unit is the revision of tenses for the past forms. Concerning Mr. Basil, the revision of tenses for the present, we've got present simple, present continuous, and present perfect and present perfect.
Yes.
Continuous. Concerning present simple, as we all know, it talks about habits and repeated actions. When we see adverbs of frequency like always, often, sometimes, we of course use here the present simple. When we talk about the use of present simple, we here of course put he, she, it, the S for the verb, and the other pronouns we don't put anything, we put the base of the verb.
Okay, so again, let's have another quick. In general, we can say we use the present simple to talk about routine. For example, Ali, let's say, goes to school in the morning. It is a routine, so every day he goes to school. When we say he usually goes to school by bus, he doesn't go to school by car, by taxi, or on foot. So this is a habitual action. When we talk about facts, we can say earth goes around the sun, water consists of hydrogen and oxygen, etc. So in general, we can talk also about states. I mean, a permanent situation which doesn't change. I live in the countryside, so it is a static, let's say,
and this is
something
the difference
static
between
or static.
Present simple
fixed.
and present continuous,
Exactly.
because it's
Exactly.
temporary
So
here.
this is the present simple. When we use the present simple, it is the first form. When we talk about a third person singular, we add S to the verb. When the verb ends with O, S, H, C, H, Y, etc. Double X, for example, we add ES. When the verb ends with Y, we change the Y into I, then we add ES, except, or when or if there is a vowel before the Y, we don't change the Y. For example, I say, he says. Here we don't change the Y into I. So that's everything about the present simple. We usually use adverbs of frequency, as I said.
Yes.
Always, usually, often, seldom, generally, rarely, etc. When we talk about the present continuous, here we are talking about
something which happened at the
happening
moment,
at the time of speaking. For example, now we are discussing the tenses, the present tenses in the studio. So it is an action that is happening now at the time of speaking. We are in the middle of the action. And when we talk about the present perfect,
yeah, before present perfect, Mr. Basil, here we've got the notice of the form of the present continuous, which is are plus the verb with ing.
That's correct.
Now when we move to the present perfect, the form of the present perfect is have or has plus the verb in the form of the past participle.
Good.
And concerning the use of the the present perfect, is that we've got here a result in front of us about something which happened in the past.
So there are some keywords that can be used with the present perfect,
like
Miss Lucia.
Recently,
we have recently,
already,
lately,
just,
so far,
since,
yet,
for,
since. We have some phrases in recent years, for example, throughout history. Okay, so we have a lot of, we have just, already, etc. When we talk about the present perfect continuous,
here we've got a prolonged action, and we can use a keyword as a difference between present perfect and present perfect continuous, which is how long. When we answer the question how long, here we talk about present perfect continuous. And
if
when
the
we
action
answer
is
the
still
question,
going on.
Yeah, and
Yes.
when the answer is about how many times, here we've got present perfect.
Of course, we can use how long with the present perfect simple if we talk about a completed action.
A completed action here, and finished.
How long have you stayed in Homs? Here, I'm asking you about something finished.
Which is finished.
And we can say, how long have you been staying here in Homs? It means that you are still living or staying in Homs, and we are talking here about a continuous
But here
activity.
the action is prolonged and not finished yet.
Yes, that's correct. So there are some keywords also that can be used with the present perfect continuous, for, since, recently, lately, and we have some time phrases that can be used with the present perfect continuous to refer, as you said, to a prolonged action,
like all day, for example,
all night, and we need an effect in the present. For example, Ali is tired now because he has been working all the day, right? So that's everything about the present perfect continuous, our present tenses. Thank you, Miss Lucia. Mr. Hussam, good morning again.
Good morning.
Now, I want you to give us, or to give the students, an idea about the past tenses, please.
Past tenses, yes. Past tenses are 4 in number. There are past simple, past continuous, past perfect, and past perfect continuous. Let's start with past simple. Past simple consists of subject plus verb to, the second version of the verb, then the complement or the rest of the sentence. It's used for completed actions in the past.
So we can use it to talk about something that happened at a specific time in the past.
Exactly, yes.
Like what?
Like what? Like Ali traveled to Moscow last week, for example.
Oh, okay.
Okay, traveled is a regular
last
verb.
Week, yesterday, in 1990, 2 weeks ago.
Any past indication.
Yes.
Yes. We can say also, we use traveled here as a regular verb. We can say Ali went to Moscow last year or last week. This is about past simple.
Yes.
Let's move to past continuous. Past continuous consists of subject plus was or were, the past version of verb to be in the past, plus verb or present participle verb plus ing. Okay, and here students should pay careful or special attention to the rules of adding ing to the verb. We add ing to the infinitive. Okay. And there are some rules like omitting e at the end of the verbs. Yes.
When the verb ends with
exactly.
e, we add e only if it is regular verb.
Exactly. Yes. Example: he was driving. He was driving fast. Here we have to omit E at
Yes.
the end of verb.
When we add
Yeah,
ing,
yes. He was driving fast.
we omit the
The
mute
last
E.
The mute E, exactly.
When the E is mute,
Exactly.
silent, we omit the E.
Exactly. We don't omit E.
Use, for example.
We don't omit E when we put the
course.
verb
C,
C
D, we
or
don't-
B. We don't omit E,
delete.
yes, because it's
Yes.
not silent here.
Yes.
He was driving fast when I saw him. When I
Mm-hmm.
saw him, it's an indication to the past reference. He was eating. He was eating when his mom
To describe
came in.
something in the past,
Yes.
we can use the past continuous.
Exactly.
Yes.
This is our past continuous. Past perfect is used to express something that happened before another verb in the
action.
past. Another action in the
When
past.
we use the past perfect, it means that this action happened first.
Happened first.
Simply.
Exactly. Example, she had done her homework before she went to bed.
And of course, I'd like to add something here, Mr. Hussam.
Yes.
When we have two clauses, when we talk about a compound sentence, let us make it very clear to the students. When we have before or after, and we have two clauses, we can use in both clauses past simple, past simple. For example,
Exactly.
I can say I visited Hussam before I met Lucia. And I can say
Exactly.
I had visited Hussam before I met Lucia. So here past simple is accepted, past perfect is accepted. Why? Because the word before or the word after clarifies the relation between the two
Highlights
actions.
what-
Right?
which
we
action
know
happened first.
because we have before or after, we know that this action happened first and this action happened next. There is no need to use the past perfect.
Exactly.
Of course, it is not wrong also to use the past perfect. So
Both of them.
both cases are accepted,
correct.
but when we use by the time, for example,
By the time she left the room,
yes,
I had
finished my project.
finished my
for example.
I have watched the film.
Okay,
For
okay.
example,
By the time we arrived,
By the time.
film had started. For
by the
example.
time contains a past simple verb,
Yes.
and the main sentence contains a past perfect.
Exactly.
Past simple, past perfect.
That's correct.
Past perfect continuous consists of had plus been plus verb ing, and it expresses an action that was continuous before another action happened in the past. For example, let's say I had been studying for 3 hours
When Sammy arrived.
when Sami arrived, or when my father came back, when before I went to bed.
Here, let me add something else, Mr. Hussam. We can, in frankly speaking, when we go to different resources, let's say British resources or American resources in English, we can find a lot of them that they contain both tenses with for and since. They can be used, but here the situation is different. For example, when I say I had studied for 3 hours before Hussam arrived, it means that the action was completed.
Exactly.
Right?
Yes.
When
I
I
remember
say
this.
I had been studying for 3 hours when Hussam arrived, it means that I was in the middle of the action when Hussam arrived. So
And it hadn't finished
that's
yet.
it.
Yes,
So
exactly.
both can be used with for and since in the past, but here students should distinguish between present perfect and past perfect. How? When they find that the sentence contains two clauses, one of them in the past, so they should use the past. If we have only one clause, so we are talking about the present, about a present
Okay.
situation. So they should know that whether, let's say, the talk is about the present or about the past. How they should read the sentence very well and distinguish if there is a clause in the sentence which refers to a past situation. In this case, they should use the past perfect, not the present perfect, simply.
Exactly.
Okay?
To sum up,
Yes, yes.
past simple, verb 2. He went to Moscow last week. Past continuous, was or were plus present participle or verb ing. He was playing basketball when I saw him.
Yes.
Past perfect, had plus verb 3. He had eaten before I came.
Good.
And past perfect continuous, she had been cleaning the house before I arrived.
Good.
Yes.
That's it. Now, Miss Lucia, thank you, Mr. Hussam. I
Welcome.
think, I hope that it is clear now about present tenses, past
Students
tenses.
in the baccalaureate.
No, yes, it is
know
just
them,
a
but
revision.
just a revision.
In the
Yes,
baccalaureate,
exactly.
we refer to it as a revision of tenses. One, revision of tenses. Two, it means that students must have known about all tenses before, right? Now, we have some examples, of course, but before giving examples, let us discuss the future forms.
Yes.
When we talk about future forms, of course, we have in the book 7 forms about the future. When we have, Miss Lucia, let's say indicators in the sentence like tomorrow, next Friday, next Wednesday, next week, it means that we are talking about something that is going to happen
Yes.
in the future.
In the future.
Would you please
Let's
give us
start-
an idea
let's
about
start
future
with
forms?
the form of will, which indicates prediction. And here we've got an example about will as one day people will travel to Mars. Here we've got a prediction about the future.
So we can use will for prediction.
So we use will for prediction.
I think it will be, let's say, hotter tomorrow.
So the word I think here is as an indicator that we've got will because we've got
Yes.
prediction.
Yes.
Next we've got be going to. The form be going to, here we've got something else which is intention. When I intend something.
You
here-
mean I have made my decision before?
Yeah. Yeah, an example about that. I'm going to clean my room this afternoon. Here, this sentence.
So she has a
means,
plan in her
yeah,
mind.
I decided to clean it this morning.
Yes.
So here we use the form of be going to.
Good, good.
Next, we've got the present simple. We also use present simple to indicate future, but here in this case we indicate it as a timetable. When we talk about
Schedule.
timetable or schedule, here we use the present simple.
Yes.
An example of this is the train to the airport leaves in 20 minutes. Here we've got a schedule.
My plane arrives
Yeah.
at 8 o'clock tomorrow.
And we use here
Yes,
the present
yes, yes,
simple.
Yes.
Next, we've got present continuous. We use present continuous also to talk about the future, but here something which happened in the immediate future. An example about this, a bank wrote to Stephen and asked him to start work next week. Here, he's starting a new job next week.
Good.
Because we've got here an immediate future.
Yes, yes. It means that maybe someone managed to have a job in the future. He called the company, they agreed, it's okay. So we say he's starting a new job next week. It means that here we are talking about, let's say, personal arrangements.
Yeah, personal arrangement
That's
in the near
in the future or in the near future.
Yeah.
Now,
The other form is be, about to. Here be about to talk about something likely to happen in the immediate also future.
after some seconds from now.
But after some seconds from
I'm
now.
about to leave.
Yeah. I'm about here, for example, I'm about to go to Rome for a conference here.
Okay.
I will be leaving soon.
Yes.
So about is here
Good.
for the immediate future also.
What
but
about now the
seconds.
future continuous?
Future continuous is, as we've said, that
Will be plus
be
ing.
plus ing, but here the difference between future continuous and the present continuous is that we use it here to decide or predict events continuing over a period of time in the future.
So when we have, let's say, a specific time in the future, let's say it's 12 o'clock now, let's say at 12 o'clock tomorrow, at this time tomorrow,
Specific time in the
I will
future.
be working. I will be working in my office. I will be meeting Hussam. So we will be in the middle of the action at this time tomorrow. We are here, we refer to something that continuous at this time tomorrow. We will be in the middle of the action. This is the meaning of the present,
An example,
the future continuous.
an example of this, I will be working on the report all next week.
for
Yes,
example.
we can say that.
Here we've got
So
this
I'm busy.
period.
I'm busy, I can't go with you because I will be working on my project all the week. We can say that, of course.
It covers a period
Yes,
of time.
yes, it covers a long period of time. What about the last form?
The last one, which is future perfect.
Perfect.
Here, future perfect. The form is will plus have and plus past participle.
Good.
When do we use it? We use it when we talk about an event that will finish in the future at a period of
So
time.
when we have, let's say, a time in the future, by the end of this month, when you, let's tell the students that when you have or read such expressions by the end of this week, by the end of this month, by the end of the year. So here I'm giving a date in the future. So I mean, before the coming of this date, something will have been finished. I will have finished such a job before the coming of this date. So I'm using here the present, the future perfect, sorry, to assure the completion of the action before the coming of this date.
So we talk about an event which will finish before a specific time in the future.
Exactly.
Exactly.
That's it. I hope now that all future forms are clear. So don't be worried, dear students, about future forms. They are so easy. Don't say that I can't use will here, I have to use be going to here. No, because both of them can be used. Both of them can refer to future. So we can use will to refer to something which is going to happen tomorrow. We can use be going to. We can use verb 1. We can use present continuous, etc. So don't worry about this. But I'd like to add something, Miss Lucia, about future. When we have time clauses, Mr. Hussam, like when the teacher arrives, as soon as the teacher arrives, before the teacher arrives. Here, arrives is present simple and refers to future. So in the second clause, they should use the future, will, so and so. For example, when the teacher arrives, we will discuss this exercise with him. I will ask him about this exercise. When, let's say, Sami graduates or finishes the baccalaureate, he will travel to London. So it is something which will happen in the future when something else is finished or finishes. This is the meaning of the future here. So in time clauses we should use present simple, and in the main clause we should use future.
Yes.
Good. Now we have some examples, dear students, dear colleagues. Let us discuss them. Of course, we can use the laptop. Would you please? Thank you very much. Okay, let's start, Mr. Hussam, please.
Yes. Examples about tenses. They are built according to the multiple choice as
because students should know that in the exam, of course, we are going to talk about the final exam when we finish our explanation of our revision.
Yes.
We will talk about the final exam in details, so don't worry. Now we are just trying to give you some examples about the final exam. Of course, students should know that they will be asked or given multiple choice questions, Mr. Hussam.
Exactly.
Yes.
Number 1, I gap a writing competition in 2006. We have got 4 choices. Number A, win. Number B, won. Number C, have won. And number D, have been winning. Here we have at the end of the sentence or the end of the sentence in 2006.
So we have a specific time.
Yes, a specific time in the past. It means that we have to choose number B, won.
Yes.
Because it's the past version of verb win.
Okay.
Then the answer is B, won. Number 2, the robbery happened while they got at home. We have got 4 choices. A, had slept. B, were sleeping. C, are sleeping. And D, slept. And the correct answer here is while they
sleeping.
were sleeping.
B, it is
number
B.
B. Yes.
Choice B.
Number 3, by the time I got to meeting or to the meeting.
To the meeting.
To the meeting. We have forgotten.
There is a missed word here.
Yes.
Okay.
The important issue. Yes. Number A.
Issues. Yes.
Issues. Yes. Issues. Number A, have discussed. Number B, discussed. Number C, would discuss. And number D, had discussed. Then here the answer is they had discussed. Number D.
It means that they discussed
something
the
happened before another action in
before I arrived.
Yes. When I arrived, they had
the meeting.
They had finished.
Yes.
Number 4, I watch English films, but the words, number A, don't understand, number B, I'm not understanding, number C, have understood, and number D, will understand. And we have to remember here that the verb understand is not used in continuous tenses because it's a mental verb. Okay? Then the answer here is I watched English films, but I don't understand the words.
Yes, because
Okay.
the verb understand cannot be used in the progressive form. Why? Because it is
a mental
static verb.
A static verb or a
yes,
mental
static
verb. Yes, exactly.
Good, good.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Okay, we have another example. Miss Lucia, please, or
Here are
some
the
other
examples about expressing future. Number one, I think that one day people space to Mars. Here we've got the answers as A, will travel, B, would have, C, are about to travel, and D, are traveling. As we've mentioned before, here we've got the indicator, which is I think, and here we've got in this sentence
It is a prediction.
So here we have to choose will travel because we've got prediction.
Good.
Number two, the train to the airport space at 7 a.m. A, will leave, B, leaves, C, is leaving, and D, left. Here we've got a timetable and a schedule, and here we have to choose present simple, as we've mentioned before. When we've got schedule or timetable, we have to choose present simple and the
fixed
correct
appointments.
Yeah,
Yes,
and
exactly.
it's fixed. So here we have to choose B, leaves.
Sometimes, Miss Lucia, in informal English or in spoken English or in everyday English, some people in Britain can use is leaving.
Yeah.
So I think here is
And
leaving
here-
should be replaced by another
It should be
choice.
replaced, with
so,
another one.
Don't worry about this choice, but here leaves is the most suitable one. But some people say the train is leaving at 7 or leaves it. It is in everyday English or informal English. Here we
And-
are talking about formal English, dear students.
And of course, in the
so
exam
don't worry,
paper,
in the
it will be
exam
clear.
they won't see such choices.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Number three, by the end of the year, I space the same talk at 6 conferences. Here we've got A, will give, B, give, C, am about to give, and D, will have given. Here we've got by the end of the year, and this indicator means that we have to use future perfect, and we have to put D, will
Because
have.
by the end of the year, we should use or we must use
Will have
future perfect.
given.
Exactly.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
What about now another example? We have other grammatical skills in our book. We have the passive voice, dear students. We have the causative. We have wish. We have reported speech.
Conditionals.
We have conditionals. We have, let's say, paired conjunction. We have relative pronouns. All these skills are grammatical skills. So, of course, all students should have a good idea, let's say, about these skills and should know how to use them. Now, let us, before giving examples about all the skills, let us, let's say, in short, try to give some ideas, some hints about each skill. Let's talk about the passive voice. The passive voice, Mr. Hussam, when we talk about the passive, students should distinguish between active
And passive.
This is the main point.
Yes.
When I say, can you give us an example?
Yes. Example, or I'm going to talk about the passive first. Passive voice. When do we use passive voice in general? We use passive voice when we can't or don't know, or it's not important to know who or what does the action. Okay? Then we change a sentence from, or we use passive voice using the object at the beginning of the sentence. Then we use verb to be in a correct tense or corresponding tense to the main
In the
sentence.
same tense as the
Yes,
active
as
verb.
the active
active verb.
form. Yes. Then verb 3, the past participle of the verb.
This is how we change from active to passive.
Yes.
When we use the active voice, when I say, Sami broke the vase, here the speaker is more interested in the doer of the action than the action. Sammy broke the vase, not
Yes.
Lucia. Okay, so here I'm using the active form.
Exactly, but
And
when
it
he is
means that
interested
the
in the
sentence
action
here,
itself.
the sentence here tells us what the subject did.
Yes.
So it is active.
Exactly.
That's it. But when we say the vase was broken by Sammy,
We are interested in the action
here
itself.
the speaker is interested in the action, not in the doer of the action.
Exactly.
The vase was broken.
Yes.
The car was stolen. My house was robbed.
Yes.
So here, what, let's say, the speaker cares about is the action, not the doer. Sometimes he doesn't know the doer. That's why we use the
And
passive
it's
form.
not important to know the
Exactly.
doer.
So
Yes.
here we, students, we assure that students should distinguish between active and passive in the exam.
Yes.
That's it. So let us give an example,
Yes.
please.
First, there is a schedule
Okay.
in the book, in the workbook for
Yes,
students
in the,
to refer to.
in,
Yes.
yes, of course.
Here, the examples about passive. Number one, the bridge by the government at the moment. Yes. Number A is belt. Number B
Here,
is
before we do it, Mr.
Yes,
Hussam,
yes.
The students here should, when they read the
Differentiate
sentence,
between active-
should know whether this subject is the doer of the action
or the receiver of the action.
or does the sentence here tell us what the subject did or what happened to the subject,
subject.
what the bridge did or what happened to the bridge.
To the vague, let's
So-
say fake subject.
So
It's not a subject here.
Exactly.
Yes.
So here, I think it's not the doer, of course. So here,
Yes.
they should know that they must use the passive form. The passive form is be plus verb 3, as you said. So they should look for a choice which is suitable, and at the same time, they should distinguish or very clearly the tense of the sentence.
Exactly.
Okay. Yes.
Now, the choices are A is belt, B is being built, C is building, and D has been built. Okay?
So is
And
built, is being built, is building.
because we
is
have
being built. Okay.
at the moment, at the end of the sentence, or in the end of the sentence, we have to use
Present
are
continuous.
Is being, yes. Is
So we
being
have
built.
here two tense,
Number B.
two forms in the present continuous, two choices.
Yes.
Is building.
Two choices. Is building is active and is
Being built.
sorry,
Yes, is being built is
being
passive.
built
Is being built
is being built is
building.
the,
So
is the
the
solution here.
the correct answer is
The correct answer is being built.
that's it.
Okay,
Okay.
but we have got just one.
Another example.
Yes, another
the
example.
company.
Yes, okay.
The company.
The company in
1980.
1980. A established. Number B has established. Number C has been established, and number D was established. The correct answer here is number D was established because we have in 1980.
Yes, a specific time in
A
the
specific
past.
time in the
So
past.
it
Number
is in the
three,
past.
Past
Okay. The
simple
last
in the
one.
passive voice, yes. Number 3, our office at the moment. Again, at the moment here, and the answer
Okay,
should be
okay.
present continuous in the past. In present continuous, A was decorated. Number B decorated. Number C is being decorated, and number D is decorating. And the correct answer is being decorated. Number C.
Thank you, Mr. Hussein. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Now, Miss Lucia,
Yes.
in unit 5, I think, we have the relative pronouns.
Relative clauses, yes.
What are the relative pronouns? An idea, please, about
Yes.
that.
First of all, we have to know the relative clause. The relative clause describes or gives a descriptive information. Here, the descriptive information is about the relative, or let us say the noun or the noun phrase. And now we use the relative pronouns to connect the relative clause with the main clause.
So, in some cases, I mean, the speaker, when someone says something, the man, for example, visited me. Which man?
Which
so
man? Here
we
have
need
to- we need
something
this
to
connection.
define the man. We use a defining clause, I mean, to make it clear for the listener which man visited me. So I say, for example, the man whom we met yesterday visited me. The man who works with me in the company visited me, etc. So here we use relative clauses to define something or someone. So we call it defining clause.
Defining
Okay, or to add extra information
Yes.
about something.
A descriptive, yeah.
Yes.
One.
So we need here, as you said, a relative pronoun. Like what?
Like, first
Who
of all, here
for
we
people?
have to differentiate between the relative pronouns that are used for people, for things, etc. Let's start with the relative pronouns that are used with people. We use who, whom, or that. Who is used for the subject, and whom is used for the object. Let's have an example here. The girl
The
who
laptop,
is
please.
waving to us is
Thank you.
my cousin. The girl here in this sentence is the subject. So we use
I
here
don't have
who.
such examples.
This example
I have-
is
okay,
given by
you
me,
can- you
Mr.
can-
Basil.
you can explain
We
it.
can we can
Okay.
give an explanation. The
Okay.
girl who is waving to us is my cousin.
Okay.
Here, the word who is used because the girl is the subject. Concerning the object, the guest speaker is the one to whom you should address the letter. Here, to whom is also the object we used to whom because we've got the guest speaker as an object. We
Good.
can now use the examples on the laptop. Number one, this is the city. Space, Shakespeare was born. Here we've got the relative pronoun which is where. We use here where because we are talking about
A
a
place.
place. Number
but,
two, yeah,
but the second one,
the second one, this is the city in space Shakespeare was born. Here we've got the relative pronoun which is which or whom, where or whose. Here we have to choose which.
Not
Why?
where.
Not where.
Because
Why?
we have in
Because we've
before the
got
space.
in. So when we've got a preposition,
Good.
we have to use which plus
Good,
preposition.
Good, good.
Number three, I met the author. Space book is on the bestseller list. Here we've got A, whose, B, which, C, where, and D, whom.
Which author?
Which author?
You
Here
met
we've
the
got-
author.
We
which
met the author.
Which one? Which
But here we
author?
are talking about the book. So whose book is on
We
the
have a
best
position
seller.
here. We
So
have a
here,
position.
possession
right?
here, and we have to choose
Yes.
whose.
Whose book is on the bestseller list?
So to sum up, Mr. Basil, when we talk about people, we use who, or whom. Who for the subject, whom for the object. When we talk about places, we use where. When we talk about places, of course, here, as in the example number 2, we use which plus preposition.
Good.
And we've got possession as whose.
Good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now, another skill, Mr. Hussam, which is wish.
Yes.
When we write wish sentences, or when in reality we wish, let's say, for something, what do we mean by that? An idea about wish, please, and how to write a wish sentence.
We use wish sentences to express that we would like something to be different, either in present or in the past or in the future. Then if we would like something to be different, we express wishing. Okay? We use I wish, he wishes, she wishes, and we follow it or use past or unreal past after
Why?
wish because it's not real.
Because we are
exactly.
imagining.
We are
here.
imagining,
We are
yes.
imagining something
It's not a
about
real
the present
situation, yes,
or about the
exactly.
past, which is not true.
Good.
Yes.
Here we have to differentiate between three cases. The first one, expressing wish or using wish to express wishing about present.
Good.
In this case, we use I wish plus subject plus past simple because it's unreal past, as we have said. Plus
So
the
you mean
complement.
we can wish
Use
about
wish.
a present situation,
Yes.
and we can wish about a past situation.
situation.
When we wish about a present
Exactly.
situation,
we have to use past simple.
past simple.
Yes.
When we
When we
wish
use
about
about
a past situation,
past, we use
we use
past perfect.
that's it.
And to express annoyance, it's better to use would plus
Okay.
infinitive.
An example,
An
or
example.
some examples.
Yes,
please.
some examples. We have got 4 examples here. Number 1, I don't know how to dance. I wish I how to dance. Here, the main sentence is present simple. So we have to use past simple in the wish or in wish sentence, which is number C, knew. I don't know how to dance. I wish I knew how to dance.
Okay.
Number 2, I didn't go shopping. Here expressing wish about the past. I didn't go shopping. I wish I, because we used simple past in the main part, we have to use past perfect here. I didn't go shopping. I wish I went shopping. Sorry, had gone shopping. Had gone shopping, yes.
Yes.
Number 3, I can't watch the match. I wish I could. Here we have got 4 auxiliaries. Look at the first part of the sentence, please. We have can't, and we have to use could. I wish I could. Number 4, I wish our neighbors. Arguing, they annoy us. To express annoyance, we have said that we use would plus infinitive. So the correct answer here is number C, would stop. I wish our neighbors
They would stop.
would stop arguing, they annoy me.
Okay. Now, another skill. Thank you, Mr.
Yes.
Hussam.
Welcome.
In Unit 3, Miss Lucia, we have another form or another structure or grammatical structure which is called the causative. Students, again, should know that they can write the sentence in English in the active form. They can use, let's say, this structure, and they can use the passive form, and this is another structure, and they can use the causative form, which is another structure. So I can say I cleaned or I painted my house last week. This is the active form. I can say my house was painted last week, and I can say I had my house painted last week. Okay, this is a different form. What about the causative form?
The causative form means that we've got something done. Here we've got an action which is done for the subject, not by the subject. Here is the difference between that the subject didn't do the action himself. So the structure is have plus the object plus past participle. And concerning the use of the causative, we've got here the action which is done for the subject, not by the subject.
Okay, thank you very much.
Examples
Some examples
about this. I didn't cut my hair myself. I, space, A, have it cut, or B, had cut it, C, had it cut, D, have cut it. The correct answer here is had it cut. But why? The first sentence is in the past. So here we
and
have
it is
to
in
choose
the negative form.
Yeah.
Yes.
And in the negative form, of
Yes.
course. Here we have to choose the past form, but because here the action is done for the subject, so I didn't cut my hair, so I let someone else to do this
Did the
action for
action.
me.
The speaker says, I didn't cut my hair myself. It means that someone else did the action,
Did
And
the
let someone
action.
else do the action.
right?
So here the negative means that here we've got the positive in the next sentence, and here we've got I had it cut, and the structure, as we've said before, that it's had plus the object plus the verb in the
So
past participle.
simply speaking, Miss Lucia, students should know this form. Learn it by heart, please. To have something done. To have something done, this is the causative. To have my house cleaned, I call someone. To have my car repaired, I take it to the mechanic. To have my hair cut, I go to the barbers, etc. I have no hair, by the way, it's okay. Now, it's just an example. Okay, so here it means that someone else did the action, not the speaker,
Not the
simply
speaker.
speaking. Okay, what about the second example
The second
now?
one, my father hasn't planted the trees himself. He has planted them. B, he has had planted them. C, he has had them planted, and D, he has them planted.
Good.
The correct answer here, because my father hasn't planted the trees, so he has had them planted. Here we've got present perfect, and the second sentence should be in the present
So
perfect
because
as well.
the sentence is in the present perfect, students should look for verb to have in the present perfect, simply. So here we have has had. This is
Exactly.
the present perfect form of the verb have.
Then the object.
That's it. Then
The
verb
object
object,
and verb
then
three.
verb 3.
Yes.
Very nice. Thank you very much. I hope it is clear now. What about the conditionals now? I think that the conditionals are mentioned in maybe unit 9 or unit 9 maybe.
Yes.
Yes. When we talk about conditionals, students of course must have trained very well, and they should know the 3 forms of conditionals. In fact, the first conditionals, the second conditionals, the third conditionals. Of course,
Plus-
I'm talking here about the 3 main types. Of course, we have another type which is called
Zero
conditionals. Zero conditionals means that the verb in both clauses is in the zero form. We don't have a future form. What about them, Mr. Hussein?
Yes, we have 3 types, 3 main types of conditionals in English. First one is first conditional, which consists of all the conditional sentences consist of 2 parts, if part and the main part. In if part, in first conditional, we have if plus subject plus present simple. And in the main sentence, we have subject plus will, or can, or may, maybe, plus infinitive. Example, if you study well, you will pass the exam. Okay? In second conditional, we have in part if past simple, and in the main part of the sentence would or could or might plus infinitive. An example, if you studied hard, you would pass the exam.
You are focusing, Mr. Hussein, on, let's say, the form,
Yes,
the form, the structure.
yes.
Let's
Why do we use it?
let's
Okay.
try to give
Why do we
students
use
an
them?
idea about
Okay.
how to
in
use it.
first example, in the first conditional, we use first conditional to express something that's likely to happen.
And real, the first one,
First one, likely to happen in present
in
or
the future,
in future.
after now, now
After
and
now.
after.
Yes, after now. Yes, exactly. If
A
you study,
condition has been achieved,
good, exactly.
right?
Thank you. This is for the first conditional. The
For
second
example,
condi-
I will
for example,
visit
I will-
you if I have enough time.
I will visit you if I have enough time. If I have enough time, I will visit you. You can change between them. And this expresses that it's something likely to happen.
Okay.
Okay? In second conditional, we use second conditional to express something that is unlikely happen in present or future. For example, I would visit you if I had time, but I don't think I will have time. Okay.
Or we can say we use the second conditionals to talk about something untrue,
Untrue
in the
about
present.
the present
About the present,
Yes.
something unreal.
or future.
Imagining. In this case, we are imagining something which is not true. For example, I don't have a laptop, so I can't use the net. If
Yes.
I had a laptop,
I could
I
use,
would use, or I could
yes,
use the net. I
yeah,
might use,
exactly,
etc.
exactly,
Right?
yes.
If I were so and so rich, for example, I would help the poor. But in reality, I'm not rich. In reality, I'm imagining something about
Okay.
the present, which is not. This is the second condition. So it is not possible now.
Yes.
It might happen in the future, but now it is impossible or not possible.
About the present.
Yes.
Yes. The third one is untrue about the past. For example, if you had helped me
Okay.
yesterday, I would have finished on time.
Good.
For example, but you didn't
Okay.
help me, and I hadn't.
Let's
on time.
read these examples, then have a break. Before having a break, let's give some examples
Okay.
about conditionals,
Examples.
and then we can have a break. Please, Mr.
Conditional
Hussam.
sentences. Number one.
Yes.
If you heat water, it is boiling, boiled, boils, and has been boiling. The correct answer here is boils, and this is called
Zero condition. Fact.
because
We
it's
are
a
talking
fact.
about a fact.
Yes. Number 2, if you more, your English would improve. Number A, practice. Number B, practiced. Number C, had practiced. And number D, will practice. And the correct answer here is practice, number B, because we have would plus infinitive in the second part of the sentence. Number 3, if I in debt, I would quit my job. And here the student should or must pay special attention to the meaning here. If I, the answer is weren't in debt, I would quit my job. But now I'm in debt and I can't
I need my
quit.
job.
Yes, I need my job to
I
pay
can't stop.
to pay back
Okay.
the money.
Okay.
Yes. The good answer or the correct answer here is if I weren't, number B. Number 4, if I had enough money, I a new house. Number A, bought. Number B, will buy. Number C, would buy. And number D, would have bought. And if we pay our attention to the first part of the sentence, we will notice that we have had, which is past perfect.
We have
Then
past perfect
this
in the
is
if clause.
third
We should
conditional.
use perfect
Third
conditional.
Yes, the answer is
Okay.
the would have both.
Thank you very much, Mr.
Welcome.
Wissam. Well, dear students, dear colleagues, before we continue, let's have a break for a minute, then we can go back. Let me remind you that you can contact us on the using the phone numbers at the bottom of the screen. We'll be ready to answer your questions, even in Arabic. It's okay. Let's have a break and then we can go back. Thank you. Dear students, welcome back. As we said before the break, we have other, let's say, grammar skills in the book. I think we still have modals and paired conjunction, maybe reported speech. Let's talk about modals in a hurry because we have only maybe 25 minutes. We need to talk about the final exam, please, even in Arabic. It's okay. Miss Lucia, let's talk about the modals, please.
The models in our book we've got affirmative form and negative form. Concerning affirmative form, we've got must, have to, and should. Must, when the obligation comes from the speaker itself. It's from the inside. Whereas have to, the obligation comes from the outside, not the speaker himself. Then should, we've got should as a recommendation or advice from the speaker himself. Concerning the negative, we've got mustn't, don't or doesn't have to, and shouldn't. Mustn't means prohibition. Don't or doesn't have to means not necessary, let us say, but not a prohibition.
You are not obliged to do it. I'm just trying to advise you, maybe. So it's up to you.
So the point here is that don't or doesn't have to doesn't mean mustn't. It's not prohibition here, but it's not obligatory to do this.
Exactly.
And shouldn't means that here you are not allowed to do this, but it's a kind of advice not to do this.
Okay. Thank you very much. Before we do the exercise, I think we have a call. Ahmad from Damascus. Good afternoon, Ahmad. Muhammad, sorry. Muhammad from Damascus. Good afternoon. Muhammad.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, sir. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
I have just one question, please, about conditional sentences.
Yes.
In page 84, in the activity book,
Okay.
yes, the colored one.
Okay.
Yes. Actually, in page 84, the number 4, the sentence number 3. Can you give me the right answer, please, about you have not got enough time, so you can
Again, please. Page.
your aunt in the
Page.
exam.
Muhammad.
Students
Okay.
book or activity book?
Workbook, right? In the workbook.
Colored book, he
in the
has said.
colored book. In the colored book.
Okay.
Not the colored. Students
Students
book.
book.
Muhammad. In the students book. Okay, colored one. Yes.
Yes, in the
Okay.
work, yes.
In the students book, not
In
the
the
workbook.
scientific section.
Page what?
Students, yes, students.
And
Yeah.
what page? Muhammad, what page? 40? 42?
I'm really sorry, but the voice
Sorry.
is not so clear.
Muhammad, listen to me from the phone, not from the TV. Muhammad,
Page 84,
84, page 84. What exercise? Exercise number?
3 or 4.
Exercise number 4.
Number 4.
Yes.
Sentence number?
3.
Number 3.
Yes, you haven't got enough time, so you can't visit your aunt in the next town.
Okay, the answer, please. Just, he needs the answer, Miss Lucia.
Yes, please the answer.
Okay. If you have got enough time, you can visit your aunt in the next town. Is it okay, Muhammad?
Yes, but actually I have just one question about it, please.
If you have
I
got.
have got enough time. Why here we use the present perfect?
Why?
We use
Slightly in the
present
present.
The
perfect.
speaker, Muhammad, it seems to me that you are a teacher, not a student. This is number 1. Number 2, it's okay. Say that you are a teacher. Well, we don't mind.
No, actually I'm a student in baccalaureate.
Very good. If you are a student, I appreciate your
Good student,
efforts,
yes.
and I'd like to
Got
greet you.
an
I'd like to
excellent
greet
answer.
you.
I really want to thank you,
Okay,
teacher.
I'd like to greet you, Muhammad. You are very, let's say, a hard-working student, and you are trying to focus on even the details in the book. That's good. But Muhammad, we can say in general, we are talking, Muhammad, about a language, okay? A language, the everyday language. When you go to Britain and listen to the native speakers of the language, okay, Muhammad?
Yes.
They use the present perfect. Why not? In the if clause. Here, let's say in our books, we try to teach the students the main forms of the conditionals. It doesn't mean that the native speakers don't use other forms. We have also mixed conditionals, Muhammad, as you know. We have mixed conditionals. We can use in the if clause, past simple, we can use in the second clause, let's say perfect conditional. But
different
here
situations,
in our
yes.
book, what we need from you is just to follow the rules. When we teach the formal English of the language, just learn the main forms of the 3 main types of conditionals. So forget about this sentence. It's okay here. Since it is in the present, if
And
you,
you've got your
again please,
consequences.
would you please read it again?
If you have got enough time, you can visit your aunt in the
Okay,
next town. So we've got consequences
Muhammad,
here.
if you have got
Yes, I mean why we
enough
use
time,
here
right?
got.
What
Because
is,
slang,
okay,
informal,
Muhammad,
tense.
Muhammad, just a minute. What is the equivalent of have got?
Have.
If you have. We can say in English, Muhammad, if you have enough time, and you can say if you have got enough time. Both of them are
Both of
correct.
them are correct.
Do you understand me now?
Yes,
Muhammad,
understood.
I can say I have one sister, and
How
I
many
can say
brothers?
I've got one
You
sister.
can ask him.
Okay, so it is in the present simple, Muhammad. Forget about it. Okay?
Okay.
Is it clear now?
Yes, it's
I
okay.
hope so. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Do you have another question?
Yes, I have about the models, about must and have to and should.
Okay.
We are going to talk
Yes,
about
I
it.
have just I have a very I actually when we talk it at school we did not have the ability to understand it very well because the teacher says that here we can use must and have to
It's okay.
in the next
in
sentence.
fact, I'll give you examples. You're right, and even your teacher is right. Here, it depends, Muhammad, on the speaker himself. For example, if the decision is, let's say, from inside, I decide, I have the decision, I say I must. For example, I want to leave now, someone is calling me, my dad, my mom, etc. And I say I must leave now, I can't wait. Why? Because I decide this. Okay, Muhammad?
Internal.
Okay. But when we have a decision from outside, for example, we have instructions. In the plane, for example, you are not allowed to smoke in the plane, for example. So the instruction says, you mustn't smoke. I say, I mustn't smoke. I'm not allowed to smoke, okay? But when I want to advise you not to smoke, I tell you smoking is dangerous. You should not smoke, not you mustn't smoke, okay? For example, it depends on the speaker and on the situation itself. For example, if your principal at school wants you to go to school wearing black shoes, Okay?
Here
So
what we should
he
use-
says you must wear black shoes to school. Okay?
Because it's the rules.
Bravo. Very good. Bravo. But and you go home and tell your mom, I have to wear black shoes to school, mom.
It's
Because
not your decision.
you don't have the decision. Okay? Is it clear now?
Yes, but please, I'm really sorry.
I hope
So-
it is clear. So don't worry about this.
The last one.
Don't worry about this, Muhammad, because in the exam, we usually
The situation will be
the
clear.
situation will be very clear. All what is required from you is to distinguish, let's say, between obligation, necessity, prohibition, advice,
Lack of
and that's
necessity.
it. And lack of necessity. Don't have to. Doesn't have
And
to.
as you see, the
That's
same
it.
sentence
Simply. Okay.
in
Don't
different
go in
situation can be
details
different.
and let's say annoy yourself about such details. Clear?
Yes, okay, thank you, sir.
So focus on the main skills in the course. The main
I mean
skills.
that
please.
the sentence, it comes clearly.
Okay. Thank
Okay.
you. Good luck, Muhammad. We
Welcome.
hope you good luck. Thank you very much for your call. Again, let's go back.
Yes,
A nice
again-
call.
again, to
I'd
models.
like to thank Muhammad for his questions.
Good questions.
Yes, good questions. In fact, let's go back.
Let's go back to models. Number one, you space get a good map of London before you go there. A should, B must, C have to, and D must not. Here the correct answer is should, because here we are giving an advice, and the correct answer is should. Number two, passengers space fasten their seat belts. Have to, must, don't have to, and shouldn't. Here we have must, because here we've got
Now, I'd like to stop here, Ms.
Yeah.
Lucia. Here, I think the choices, let's say, weren't studied very well. Let's go back. If I'm talking about what passengers have to do, I can say passengers have to fasten their seat belts. Why? Because there is an instruction in the plane.
and
Okay.
it is imposed
I'm not-
from the airline.
I'm not the company. If the company is speaking, if the company here in sentence number 2, I hope Muhammad is still with us now
Yes.
and listening to me. If the company is speaking here, we should use must.
Yes.
If someone else is talking about this instruction, we should use have
someone
to.
else.
So exactly. So here, in the exam, it's just an example here. But in the exam, the case would be different. We cannot have such choices in the exam, have to and must together. Why?
Ambiguous,
Because
somehow
if
ambiguous.
someone else is trying to convey the information, he should use have to. If the company is talking, we should use must here. So
And the sentence will be clearer, Mr.
yeah,
Bassel. We
okay.
can say that
So-
the company imposed on the passengers.
exactly.
So
exactly.
here we have to
After this
must.
sentence, we should add something here. The company says. Okay. For example,
Yes.
if the company says that, we should use must, not
Must.
have to.
Okay.
Okay. I
Yes.
hope it is clear now.
Now,
Next one.
Number 3, I space wear a uniform at school. The same example that you gave to Muhammad. Here, mustn't, must, don't have to, and have to. If the speaker is talking about rules that are imposed on him by the principal and the rules of the school, here we have to put have to, because here the speaker is not the person who just put the
Of course,
rules to
mustn't
put
is not correct.
the uniform.
Must wear uniform at school. We have to, or I here, as I said, the same example
The same
I
example.
mentioned with Muhammad.
Yeah.
Here, I have,
to wear.
Exactly.
exactly, yes.
You space put the books back on the shelf in the library. A should, B must, C don't have to, and D mustn't. Here the correct answer is don't have to, and of course in the exam it will be clearer and we mention something with it. Number 5, if he has a credit card, he space pay in cash. Here must, doesn't have to, should, and mustn't. Here because he has a credit card, so he doesn't have to pay in cash.
Thank you very much. And the last skill now, because we need to talk about the exam. We have only 15 minutes. So the reported speech, please.
Okay, the reporter speech. We can relate the speech. When we want to relate the speech, we have got two ways. The first one is indirect, by conveying or relating the exact words of the speaker, and the other way by relating the same meaning or the exact meaning but in other words. We have some examples about reported speech. In other words, when
we can report a sentence and we can report a question.
Are we short of time or
when
not?
when we want to report a sentence, we use two verbs, said and told, right?
Asked,
when we want
yes.
to report a question,
We
we have
asked
WH
and
questions
wanted to know.
and we have yes no
Wanted to know.
questions,
Yes.
simply speaking. Now,
Okay,
let's have the example.
two examples. The first one is about the verb told. The teacher told us that we, A, will get, number B, have got, sorry, and C, طبعا, it's written.
Okay,
Yes,
okay.
got
There is
and
a spelling
had that
mistake.
spelling mistake, yes. And the correct answer is had got. Okay, because it's in the last exam. Number two, the teacher asked us where our last holiday, and again we have to use here where we had spent. Number
Did
D.
we spend? Have we spent?
We spent. No,
we had
it's number
spent.
D. We had.
Why? Because
spent.
here
Because
we
we
are
have
reporting
last-
a question.
Yes, a
So
question.
this question is not direct question. It is indirect. So
Yes, choice number A is incorrect.
Yes.
Yes,
Why?
because
Because there is an auxiliary
There is
verb
auxiliary
before the
adverb. Yes.
subject. It is wrong.
exactly.
Yes.
And the correct answer here is number D. We
Very,
had
very nice.
spent.
Thank you
Yes.
very much. Now, do you have
Pronunciation.
to? Would you like to add something else?
No, but you
About
said
what?
that this is the last
That's
skill.
it.
And
The last example, because
just 1 minute.
we cannot, Mr. Hussam, because we have
Thank you.
only let's say 10 minutes. So 10 minutes, I hope that they are enough, or 12 minutes to talk about the exam. Now we have the paired conjunction. The paired conjunction in the book, of course, students should know about them, both and, not only but also either or, neither nor, and they are mentioned in the book. We have a lot of exercises about them in both the student's book and the workbook, and that's, I think, the last, let's say, skill let's say in the book. Now we can talk about the final exam. Of course, at the end, I'll ask you to give some pieces of advice to our dear students, how to deal with English, how to study English, how to prepare for the exam. But now I'd like to talk about the final exam in general. All teachers, all our dear colleagues, all schools, all students, at the beginning of the year, the ministry, let's say, has distributed, let's say, a format about the final exam in the baccalaureate for the new series EMAR. Of course, we told the students, I can tell you now that when we talk about the reading skill, in general, the exam will be divided into three main parts. Part number one, which is the reading, which is reading. When we talk about part one, we have two texts. You will be given two texts. Text A, text B. Text A is from the book. No more than 200 words as, let's say, a size, the size of the text. No more than 200 words. For each text, the first one will be from the book, either from the student's book or from the workbook. Now, all the questions, what about the questions of the first text? They can be multiple choice, as we said, or true false. Maybe all of them, or all of them true false, or all of them multiple choice, but not two of them multiple choice, two of them true false. All of them multiple choice questions or true false questions. I mean, 4 choices for all the questions. You will be given 6 questions about the first text. Let's move on to talk about the second text now. The second text, again, no more than 200 words, as I said, as a size, but it will be from outside, parallel to the texts in your book. It is not from the book. This is what I want to say. As we said before at the beginning of the year, it is not from the book, dear students. The second text, but the words, the new vocabs of the text are very clear. it is very easy to be read. You will understand it when you have the vocabulary. You can read it easily. Now, what about the questions? The questions can be multiple choice questions or true false. All of them, not 2 or 3. All of them. If the second, for example, the first text questions are multiple choice questions, the second text will be true false questions, and the opposite.
And the vice versa.
One of them multiple choice questions and one of them true false questions.
Too easy.
And that's, I think, is too easy, as you said. What about the second part? The second part contains 26 items. 130 marks will be allotted to this let's say question in the scientific section.
5.
In the literary
5 marks
section,
each.
in the literary section, the mark is different. But the same questions for both the scientific and the literary. The same questions, the number, I mean.
Relating to use
The
of
number
English,
of questions,
English,
6
yes.
questions, 6 questions for both scientific and literary. And in other words, let me explain it in English. عدد الأسئلة بالنسبة للفرعين العلمي والأدبي هو نفس عدد الأسئلة، وهذا ما تم تعميمه من قبل وزارة التربية في بداية العام الدراسي. أعزائي الطلاب، هي أنا يعني فضلت أنه أتحدث باللغة العربية، ربما بعض الطلاب يعني
أو الأهل
حرصا على أو الأهل ربما على أن يفهموا هذه المعلومة. جدا ضروري جدا أن يعلموا ذلك، أن عدد الأسئلة بالنسبة للفرعين العلمي والأدبي هو نفسه، لكن الوقت يختلف طبعا حسب مهارات
والدرجات
تختلف. نعم، لذلك وقت الأدبي 2.5 ساعة ووقت العلمي الامتحان مدته 2 ساعة. لكن هناك وحدات مشتركة بين الفرعين لا شك. الامتحان سيتناول جميع هذه المهارات، ستتناول أكيد المهارات ربما الدنيا، وهناك أسئلة أيضا تتناول المهارات التفكير الأعلى، خلينا نقول مهارات تحليل، مهارات تفكير ناقد، مهارات استنتاج إلى آخره. لكنها وهذا ما جرت عليه العادة في كل امتحانات، يعني لا يوجد أي شيء جديد على الإطلاق في نوعية الأسئلة، أو هذه هي نوعية الأسئلة التي تعودتم عليها دائما، ولا شيء جديد على الإطلاق كما تحدث السيد الوزير في كلمته. أعيد إذن الآن 26 بند في القسم الثاني من الاختبار. طبعا ستتناول هذا القسم سيتناول كافة المهارات الموجودة في المنهاج، يعني المهارات القواعدية، المفردات، الأزمنة، اللفظ أيضا، مثلا pronunciation, everyday English. كل هذه المهارات الموجودة في الوحدات الدرسية سيتناولها هذا السؤال. سيتناول هذا القسم كافة المهارات ما عدا مهارة القراءة الريدينج ومهارة الكتابة، لأن هناك سؤال مخصص للكتابة. إذن هذا، وكل الأسئلة في هذا القسم هي اختيار متعدد 4 خيارات، يعني لا يوجد أي شيء جديد كما تم تعميمه من قبل وزارة التربية. الآن ننتقل إلى القسم الثالث من الاختبار. زملائي المدرسين الأعزاء، أبنائنا الطلاب، القسم الأخير من الاختبار سيحتوي على 3 أسئلة. السؤال الأول بالتأكيد سيكون ask about the underlined word. سيعطى الطالب 4 جمل مختلفة تماما، ليست محادثة، لكن هي جمل منفصلة تماما،
ليست حوار.
وهناك ليست حوار، هناك خط تحت الكلمة، تحت المعلومة، ممكن تحت السبجكت، تحت الفيرب، الاكشن، التايم. لأن هناك مهارات كما تعلمون أدوات السؤال على الطالب أن يكون ملما بها، وعلى الطالب أن يسأل عن الكلمة التي تحتها خط. ask about the underlined word أو phrase ممكن. فهذا وهناك أمثلة عن ذلك، يعني بإمكاننا طبعا أن نستخدم اللابتوب مباشرة لنطرح الفكرة. I get up at 6:30 every morning. هذا، وممكن الطالب أن يسأل ب what time أو when do you get up. هذا مثال عن الأمثلة، وهناك أمثلة أخرى طبعا عديدة كما تشاهدون أعزائي الطلاب. السؤال الأول إذن انتهينا منه. السؤال الثاني الآن طبعا سيكون هناك اختر الخطأ، choose. طبعا هناك احتمالات لهذا السؤال، لكن مثال نعطي عن ذلك. choose the wrong part in each sentence. ممكن تشوفوا معنا بالشاشة نفس الطريقة تماما. فهذا سيكون السؤال الثاني. لأنه ليس لدينا الوقت الكافي لنقرأ الأمثلة، لكن أعتقد الموضوع صار واضح تماما. بالنسبة للموضوع الآن طبعا هناك يعني ما بقدر أقول أعمم يعني، لكن عممت الوزارة منذ بداية العام الدراسي أن الموضوع سيكون موازي لموضوعات الكتاب، مرتبط بموضوعات الكتاب، مرتبط بالوحدات الدرسية، فإذا الموضوع سيكون من خارج الكتاب، لا يوجد موضوع موجود في الكتاب سيأتي في الامتحان. هذه المواضيع كافة هي لتدريب الطالب لاكتساب مهارة الكتابة. سيعطي الطالب موقف معين، ربما some hints أو عناصر وعليه أن يتضمنها موضوعه، وأي عنصر مفقود من هذه العناصر موضوعه ربما سيخسر درجات. إذن على الطالب أن يقرأ الصيغة جيدا، عليه أن يقرأ العناصر حتى يفهم ماذا يريد أن يتحدث في موضوعه ويشمل هذه العناصر في موضوعه ويربط هذه الجمل. عليه أن يتقن أدوات الربط، أن يتقن كابيتاليزيشن، الجرامر الصحيح، القواعد، السبيلينج الصحيح، punctuation إلى آخره. كل هذه المهارات هي مهارات كتابية، طبعا تركيبة الجملة، تسلسل منطقي إلى آخره، وبالتالي سينال الدرجة الكاملة. لا داعي للقلق على الإطلاق بالنسبة لهذا الموضوع، على العكس تماما. أي طالب مستوى صف تاسع يستطيع أن تعطيه بعض العناصر وتقول له اكتب عن الموضوع الفلاني، يعني أنا بدي إياك تكتب عن هذه الطاولة، فبعطيك مثال أنه ارتفاعها، أبعادها، المادة المصنوعة منها إلى آخره، فأنت بتقدر تأخذ هي المعلومات وتحكي لي باراجراف تكتبه عن الطاولة وميزاتها. هذا مثال بسيط يعني. فبالتالي لا داعي للقلق بالنسبة للامتحان على الإطلاق. أنا بعتقد أنه طلابنا طيلة العام كانوا متابعين تماما للندوات، وحتى لو ما كانوا متابعين الندوات كانوا مع زملاء المدرسين، تطرقوا لكافة الوحدات الدرسية وركزوا على كافة المهارات وأتقنوا إن شاء الله كافة المهارات. ما في داعي، نتمنى من كل قلوبنا we hope فعلا أنه يعني أن يكون الامتحان هادئ لطلابنا، أنه يجتازوا الامتحان بدرجات إن شاء الله تكون عالية. They can get high marks, I'm sure of that. At the end of this seminar, Miss Lucia, one piece of advice to our students how to study English, please.
How to study English? They have to study everything.
How to prepare English for the exam.
But concerning the exam, just read the questions, dear students, carefully and pay attention to the A, B, C, D multiple choice, because there is a little difference between each one, so they have to read it more than one time.
Okay. Thank you very much, Miss Lucia.
Thank you.
Mr. Hussam, I'm sure that you have some pieces of advice. You have
the same tip, but I advise them to sleep well before the night of the exam, and the available time in the exam is enough, but don't be in a hurry. Read carefully, and I think the good student will have a thought about what is the answer before he goes to the choices.
Okay, thank you very much.
Welcome.
I have some pieces of advice in English, then I can talk in Arabic at the end. Well, dear students, of course, you should, let's say, prepare the reading text very well. What we want from you is just to understand the main ideas of the reading texts and to be able to discuss them. There is no need to learn by heart even the meanings of words in English, because no one is going to ask you about the meaning of the new words in the different units of the book. So there is no need to learn by heart the meanings of words. Learn how to use them. Try to learn the meaning of the word and how to use this word in a sentence. This is what we want. This is the skill we want from you. When we talk about vocabs, we have a title in each unit, vocabulary. Please pay attention to these titles, pronunciation, everyday English. So try to focus on these skills, because the second part of the exam will deal with all these skills. Writing, try to train yourself from now to know how to write, not to learn by heart, ready, let's say, compositions or topics. Don't learn by heart. Now, let's try to speak in Arabic. أعزائي الطلاب، في نهاية هذه الندوة ما أود أن أقوله حقيقة أن لا يتعامل الطالب على الإطلاق مع الإشاعات فليركز ويضع صب اهتمامه أو جل اهتمامه في المادة أو في الوحدة الدرسية، في المادة الدراسية التي يدرسها، لا يتعرض على الإطلاق للإشاعات، لا يتناول الإشاعات، فليركز على المادة ويعرف كيف يدرس المادة ويتعامل مع المادة. هذا واحد. اثنين، فيما يتعلق بمادة اللغة الإنجليزية تحديدا، ما نتمنى حقيقة الابتعاد عن الحفظ البصم، ما نتمنى حقيقة أن يبتعد الطالب عن حفظ موضوعات عديدة، يعني كم هائل من الموضوعات وإلى آخره وآلاف من الجمل لا مانع أن أكتسب يعني مفردات، بالعكس كلما قرأت أكثر اكتسبت مفردات أكثر، هذه مهارة. لكن أن أحفظ بصم، هذا الحفظ البصم لنبتعد عنه أعزائي الطلاب، لا ننصح به، لأنه لا يعلم لغة حقيقة وليس له علاقة بالاختبار على الإطلاق. لذلك ما نريد أن نقوله، أتمنى عليكم أن لا تقتربوا من شيء حفظي أو موضوعات جائزة لتحفظونها. هذا ما نريد قوله. في نهاية الندوة أعزائي الطلاب، زملائي الأعزاء المدرسين، أود أن أتشكر زميلاي العزيزين، زميلتي لوسيا كريم, my dear colleague Lucia Karim from Aleppo Directorate. Thanks for coming from Aleppo, Miss Lucia.
Thank you, Mr. Basil.
Mr. Hussam Al Mahmoud, my dear colleague from Tartus Directorate. Thanks for coming from Tartus.
Welcome, Mr. Basil.
This is Basil Sadiq
Good luck, our
from
students.
the Syrian Education Channel. At the end of this seminar, dear students, we wish you good luck. Thanks. Goodbye. Thank you.